Hello my friend, in this video I'm going to explain what Spotify's algorithm playlists are and how you can get on them. So Spotify's algorithmic playlists are custom playlists that are automatically generated by Spotify's algorithm and are personalized for each user based on their own listening habits. Types of algorithmic playlists include Release Radar, Discover Weekly, Daily Mix, and Radio. And as you can see, before I continue, I've written an article on this topic, so if you'd like to follow along or if you prefer the written word format, simply Google Best Friends Club algorithm playlists. So Spotify's algorithm playlists are a great way to expose your music to thousands of listeners that are highly likely to enjoy and stream your music. And a basic way for artists with their music already on Spotify and access to the Spotify for Artists dashboard to get on these algorithmic playlists is by simply pitching their new releases in the Spotify for Artists dashboard to at least make sure that they are on their own followers' Release Radar playlists. However, there are ways to get on the Release Radar playlists of other Spotify users that who do not actually follow your own Spotify artist profile. On top of this, understanding how the Spotify algorithm works in general can greatly help your chances of getting on the other algorithmic playlists like Discover Weekly, Daily Mix, and Radio. But first, let's dive a little bit deeper into what Spotify's algorithmic playlists are and explain a little bit more how they actually work. So Spotify has a growing number of algorithmic playlists that are customized and personalized for each specific Spotify user. Because these algorithmic playlists are customized for each user, they are likely to have some great music in them. And I think a great example is that no two Release Radar playlists are the same because no two Spotify users are the same. Everybody has their own unique listening habits, and the Spotify algorithm takes that into account to provide the best song recommendations possible for each unique Spotify user. However, the Spotify algorithm does look at the listening habits of other similar users to provide song recommendations. So for example, let's assume Spotify user A has similar listening habits such as listening to artists, songs, and times of even listening to Spotify user B. In this scenario, if Spotify user A starts listening to a new song and Spotify user B has not yet listened to that new song, the algorithm will notice that Spotify user B may enjoy this new song and has a chance of adding this new song to one of Spotify user B's algorithmic playlists. So what are these specific types of Spotify algorithmic playlists in detail? So the type of algorithmic playlists that Spotify may use to recommend new music to its users include Release Radar, Discover Weekly, Daily Mix, Radio, On Repeat, Repeat Rewind, and Your Top Songs. And of course, Spotify is constantly adding to this repertoire of algorithmic playlists because they notice that it increases engagement and overall listening inside the Spotify app, so they're constantly trying to add more of these over time. So kicking things off, Release Radar is a Spotify algorithmic playlist of new releases from artists that a Spotify user follows or listens to. However, Spotify may also include new releases from other artists that they think the user will enjoy. So to get your music on this playlist, all you need to do is release new music. However, if your next release has multiple songs, you can pitch the specific song that you want to end up in the Release Radar playlist in the Spotify for Artists dashboard 7 days before release day. It's also important to note that if your song does well, Spotify may start suggesting your song in the Release Radar playlist of Spotify users who do not follow or listen to you yet. The number of extra streams you get will depend on how many followers you have and how engaged your followers are. However, I've seen anywhere between 100 and 3,600 additional streams from this type of playlist when I get Spotify to suggest it to non-followers. So here is a screenshot of how Release Radar has done for me. As you can see, I had a song called Waited that hit about 3,600, and more on the lower end, I had a song called Day Drunk, a remix that only hit about 123 on the Release Radar playlist push. There's also a few extra tips on how you can get on Release Radar that I want to mention. So one is to make sure that your song is delivered to Spotify at least 7 days before release day. Another is that once a user listens to your song inside of their Release Radar, you should know that that song will no longer show up there, but another song from your release may show up in its place. Your music will only show up in Release Radar if you are the main or featured artist for the song. Being listed as a remixer will not work. Songs with various artists are not eligible for Release Radar. Only brand new songs will show up on Release Radar, aka no releases of songs that are already on Spotify. Each listener can only receive one song per artist per week in their release radar. And finally, your song can appear in release radar for up to 4 weeks after its release if a listener hasn't already heard it. After that, the song will not appear because it is not new. This is why I personally recommend releasing new songs every 4 or 5 weeks, sometimes 6, to capitalize on the release radar algorithmic playlists. So personally, each time I release new music, I'm trying to maximize the amount of release radar streams that I get, because this is one of the easiest placements to get on that you actually have control over. Moving on is the Discovery Weekly playlist. So Discovery Weekly is a Spotify algorithmic playlist that features both new music and older music that updates for each Spotify user on Mondays. Unlike Release Radar, you can't actually pitch to get your music on this playlist, and the music does not have to be new. In fact, it's quite common for artists to see older songs in their back catalog get new life if they start getting placed in Discover Weekly. The number of extra streams will depend on how well your song performs, which will dictate how many Discover Weekly playlists your song ends up on and for how long. Some factors that influence your song's performance may include the total number of streams from Discover Weekly, the listening time, so how much of the song the listener actually gets through, how many users are saving the song after listening on Discovery Weekly, how many users are liking or disliking the song after listening on Discover Weekly, how many users add the song to their own playlist after listening on Discover Weekly, how many times users continue to listen to the song after listening it initially on Discover Weekly, and whether or not the user actually follows the artist after discovering them on Discover Weekly. So one thing actually is any kind of performance on Spotify, these things all dictate how well a song will do on any playlist and in general, as these are things that the Spotify algorithm is looking at when deciding if a song is good or not and worthy of sharing to other people on the platform. So there is no cut and dry way to get your music on Discover Weekly. However, a lot of users have noticed that they started to see placement on its algorithmic playlist once their song has surpassed about the 20,000 total stream mark, so aiming for that is a good place to start. So far personally, I've seen anywhere between 320 and 6,200 additional streams and counting from getting my music placed on different Discover Weekly playlists. Moving on, Daily Mix is a Spotify algorithmic playlist that looks at a Spotify user's past listening habits over time and creates up to 6 personalized playlists based on songs that the user has been playing often, as well as some related music that the user might enjoy. As the name suggests, this playlist is updated each day. So similar to Discover Weekly, these playlists cannot be pitched to, can include older songs, and will gain you a varying number of streams depending on how well your song performs. Spotify uses clustering technology to find different subgroups within a user's listening patterns, aka listening history and active feedback, such as liking songs or disliking songs, in the app, to create a playlist made up of a user's most commonly listened to artists, as well as additional recommendations using the algorithm's understandings of their favorite music. The algorithm then balances the song order between the user's well-known favorites and appropriate new suggestions. The amount of playlists, which is up to 6, depends on each user, where a user that listens to a lot of different styles of music will have more mixes than a user that mostly listens to just one genre. What makes these playlists different from Discover Weekly is that the Daily Mix has more of a focus on familiar and favorite music with less of an emphasis on discovery. Spotify actually mentions that Daily Mix is less adventurous when compared to Discover Weekly. Additionally, Discover Weekly only has 30 tracks total, where Daily Mix will continue to load up more songs for premium users at least, to make sure that the music does not stop. So far, I've personally seen anywhere between 95 and 9,100 additional streams from getting my music placed on Daily Mix playlists, as you can see right here in this screenshot. Again, there is no cut and dry way to get your music on Daily Mix playlists. You simply need to keep releasing new music and driving targeted new listeners and streams to your music while hoping that you've created a song that performs well. Moving on, Radio is a series of Spotify algorithmic playlists that can be based on any artist, album, playlist, or song on Spotify. These playlists update over time and usually contain about 50 tracks. Your music can appear in your own artist, album, playlist, or song radio playlist, but can also appear on other artists, album, playlist, or song radio playlists if the algorithm notices a relation between you and those other artists or songs. Here are some extra notes on these radio playlists. Users can search to find artist radio playlists. If users have autoplay selected, radio playlists will get launched as needed so that that user gets an endless mix. So if they listen to another playlist or a single song, could launch into one of these artist radios. Spotify users can actually like and follow these radio playlists, and once you build up enough streaming data on Spotify, your own artist radio playlist will be visible in your profile under your discography titled featuring your artist name. So to give you an idea of what that looks like, this is my profile right here, and if you scroll down, you can see Best Friends Club Radio right here, and this is what it looks like. So far, I've seen anywhere between 131 and 1,800 additional streams from getting my music placed on various different radio playlists, as you can see in this screenshot right here. My personal understanding is that you can get on other artists' radio stations by manipulating a connection between the two of you in the eyes of the algorithm by doing things like running targeted ads to people that listen to that artist on Facebook or Instagram, by getting placed near them on other users' playlists, and by putting yourself near them on your own playlists, but you need to make sure that that particular playlist actually gains followers and active listeners. Basically, anything you can do to prove to the algorithm that you are related to that artist can help you get on those particular radio playlists. Moving right along, the next Spotify algorithm playlist is called On Repeat, and On Repeat is a Spotify algorithmic playlist that is made up of a user's current favorite songs based on their recent listening history over the last 30 days. As the name suggests, these playlists automatically update to make sure that it's filled with music that the user has been playing non-stop regardless of the genre. The playlist was introduced by Spotify in September 2019 and is available for both free and premium users. So far, I've seen anywhere between 5 and 312 additional streams from getting my music placed on these On Repeat playlists, as you can see from the screenshot right here. And the only real way to get your music placed on these playlists is whenever Spotify users are actually listening to your music over and over again. It's at that point then you'll be added to one of these playlists. Then on top of that, the Spotify users needs to actually frequent their own On Repeat playlist so that streams generate from that playlist for you. So I wouldn't expect too many plays from this bad boy. Moving on, a similar playlist is Repeat Rewind, which is a Spotify algorithmic playlist that is made up of a user's favorite songs from beyond 30 days ago. So this playlist can include music across all genres, artists, and moods, and it's updated every 5 days. Essentially, this is the same thing as the On Repeat playlist, but is made up using listening history from further back in time. However, songs from Repeat Rewind will never also appear on repeat at the same time. This playlist was introduced by Spotify in September 2019 as well, and is available for both free and premium users as well. So far, I've only seen between 2 and 103 additional streams from getting my music placed on these On Repeat Rewind playlists. So really the only way to get your music placed on these playlists is whenever Spotify users are listening to your music over and over again in the last few months, but not in the last 30 days. Then the Spotify user needs to actually frequent their Repeat Rewind playlist. So I would expect even less streams from this one than the actual On Repeat one. And lastly, there is the Your Top Songs or the Wrapped playlist, which are algorithmic playlists of a user's top 100 tracks for each year in Spotify. In addition to being able to view user stats via the Wrapped website that they usually come up with, Spotify creates a curated playlist for each user. So since starting this playlist in 2019, Spotify now creates a new Your Top Songs playlist for each and every year. So far, I've seen anywhere between 3 and 74 additional streams from getting placed on these Your Top Songs playlists. The main way to get a lot of plays from these playlists is essentially to have a really good year. If you found a lot of new fans in the last year and had a few songs pop off even, you may see more streams come from this playlist when it gets released at the end of the year. Now, I touched on it a bit earlier in this video at various points, but I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into explaining how the Spotify algorithm actually works. So the main purpose of the Spotify algorithm is to provide great song recommendations to its users so that those users spend as much time on Spotify as possible. Essentially, the more time that a user spends inside of the Spotify app, the more opportunities that Spotify has to sell advertisements, keep users happy with paying for their premium subscription, and they get the ability to tell investors that their numbers are great so that Spotify continues to get external investment money. A good comparison to Spotify's algorithm is the Google and YouTube algorithms, where the purpose of the Google and YouTube algorithms is to give you the most valuable content possible so that you stay on the platform and spend as much time on that platform as possible. These platforms have their own goals goals, and by helping them achieve their goals, only then will you be rewarded, whether that's with YouTube views, Google search results rankings, or Spotify streams. In the example of Spotify in particular, Spotify may start to reward you with placements in the algorithmic playlist that we mentioned before, and this increase in positive numbers could also inevitably catch the attention of Spotify editors, which may lead to lucrative editorial playlists in the future. Link up here to a video where I explained how I got on about 7 Spotify editorial playlists and hit about 2 million streams from it. Lastly, I wanted to mention that I put together a free course called The 6 Secrets to Spotify Success, where I go a little bit more into how the Spotify algorithm works and what you can do to build up your streams with algorithmic playlists and eventually catch the attention of the Spotify editors a little bit more in detail. The strategy details a lot more of a legit way to grow your streams, particularly compared to getting on any fake playlists or anything like that. Completely don't agree with that strategy, so that's not in here at all. So if you'd like to check it out, it's completely free. There'll be a link to it in the description below. Other than that, I hope that you found this video useful. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe and all that good stuff so you get to see more videos like this. Other than that, good luck on your next release. Good luck getting on the Spotify algorithm playlists, and I will see you in the next video, my friend. Have a good one.